Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Autastic, the comedian's guide to autism. I'm here in person, IRL studio, not apartment. We're moving on up in the world.
One bedroom apartment. We hear where somebody moving boxes, it sounds like.
Kirk Smith is here in my apartment.
Beautiful New York City.
In real life, it's a sunny day.
35 degrees.
My neighbor is moving something.
Hopefully not a body.
Yep. And you probably can't hear it, though. So we don't need to talk about it, right?
My bad.
Yeah. But anyway, that's fine. Hey, you got to address it. Kirk, how you doing, man?
Good.
You just got back from a trip.
Yeah, late last night.
Wow. What time did you get back in?
11, maybe?
Yeah, it is late. So you were in from Israel, right?
PM, yeah. I flew Israel to Warsaw, Poland, and I guess there was a famous celebratory celebration in Warsaw with Orthodox Jewish men. So the flight, I'm not exaggerating, 95% Orthodox Jewish guys.
Not a lot of overhead compartment space left after the hat
for
boxes.
The hats.
The hat boxes. If you don't live in a place with a lot of Orthodox Jewish people, which you probably don't.
Unless you live in Brooklyn.
Unless you live in Brooklyn or Montreal or Israel or Warsaw. Basically.
And I'm in 3 out of those 4.
Yeah. Basically, if they're flying, a lot of trips to Miami, actually.
Yeah.
But
usually it's half a dozen guys. This was, I'm not exaggerating, 200 men.
They're really particular about their like fedoras, and so they.
It's not a fedora, but yeah.
Whatever, you know what I mean. It's a hat, and it's a big status symbol, and then they have these like hard plastic like traveling cases they travel with,
or
and
cardboard boxes or something. Everybody had a box,
and they put them up in the overhead, and it's like way more packed than normal. It's just full of hats.
And then 30%, 30 minutes into a 9-hour flight, they take the hats back down, put them back on. I'm like, okay, I don't know what we're doing, but
Is that true?
Yeah, I've got videos of it because I'm like, nobody's gonna believe this. There's 100 Jewish guys stand up talking, singing, doing chant, they're doing like prayers and walking back and forth and
put back on their hat. They take them off for the takeoff, I guess.
Yeah, and then we're like just about to land. We're coming in, and this Polish lady's like, "You have to sit down. We're landing." Oh, okay. And they're like kind of slowly moving back to their seats. I'm serious. She kept yelling at them. It was pretty funny. It was a nice end to the trip to Israel. It made me feel got the whole Jewish experience.
Yeah.
Great trip.
Mm-hmm.
Back in New York. Had a nice call last night with the good old JJ.
Mm-hmm.
He's not wearing a hat.
No. He doesn't like hats, does he? He
does. He does like hats. Caps. He wears a lot of baseball caps in the freezing cold, which don't help a lot. And he...
But he doesn't like in Canada we call it a toque. In America you call it
he won't wear that.
beanie.
No beanies.
No.
Just baseball hats.
Wait, because it's too constrictive for his head, you
know.
think? Because what's her name? That the lady who invented the hugging machine?
Oh yes, Temple Grandin. And I always thought of a beanie would be like a hugging machine for your head, and people with autism would like it, but I guess not. Well, my son did go through a period where he really liked weighted blankets. A good maybe 10 years. Weighted blanket was a good thing.
When he was going through puberty? Is that what you said?
No, after.
After.
Yeah.
What'd you say about puberty?
Nothing. I said he went through a period where he liked weighted blankets.
Oh, a period.
Yeah, he went through a time where he liked weighted blankets. Yeah, which is like a hugging machine.
Sure, that makes sense. Maybe because it like constricts his ears.
I don't know.
Because it's interesting. People with autism have like their
sensory
overload. So it's like
and tactile issues.
Yeah. Huh. So he wears a little baseball cap.
He wears a little baseball hat during the call yesterday. No hat, messing with his hair, which he's losing, and it always makes me think, how old am I where my son is going bald?
He could wear a fedora. He's losing his hair.
He does like a fedora.
He's a Jewish
guy. He will wear a fedora. And he looks like he could be Jewish. Got that that mixed look. But although there's Ashkenazi Jews that are very white too.
Sephardic Jews.
Sephardic are the darker Jews. Yeah.
That's cool. So how's he doing?
Good, I think. I'm going to see him in 3 weeks. I'm excited, putting together a little care package for him. He's back on the horse, so to speak. Back visiting his horse. What else? What was the other update they had? Shows me little pictures of what he did. How you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Shows me a picture of a car. Shows me a picture of a.
Oh, that's cool. So he understands what kind of.
I don't know. I mean, they're feeding him stuff too. They're handing him things. So.
Oh.
The last one, he was like, yeah. He's like, if I'm sitting directly in front of him, he's like, yeah. But he's trying to get the lady to tickle him, and he does this fake laugh thing where he tries to get you to tickle him. So, but he's doing good.
I like to get tickled.
I think he's doing good.
Peter likes to get tickled.
Does he really?
He loves it.
Really?
We do this thing where when I'm visiting home, he always wakes me up. My mom will go wake up your brother. And he'll come up and I'll hear like a big loud bang. It's a big loud knock at the door, like boom, boom, boom.
It's the police at your door?
Yeah, like a police, but like because it's like he's pretending to be on a cartoon.
Oh, God.
Like Looney Tunes or something. And then he'll walk in and pretend that he's a mummy. And I'll be like under the
Arms
covers.
outstretched?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be under the covers. And he'll start moving his fingers. And then he'll shake me, rock my whole torso back and forth. Like he's a big guy. And he'll bounce me like a basketball on the mattress until I get up. And if I'm wearing socks in the winter, he'll grab my socks. He'll take my toes out from under the blanket and he'll tie my socks together.
This is a full experience.
Yeah. And then I have to get up and I have to grab him and tackle him and tickle him in bed. And he laughs so hard. And then, and then even like when we have our Zoom calls or whatever FaceTime calls every day, we start it by pretending to tickle the camera.
Okay.
So he when I see him, first thing I see is he's got his like hands.
He's ready to go.
His hands. He's got one of his hands making kind of like a scratching kind of motion towards the lens of his lens at the camera, so I can just see a big hand going like that when it appears, and then I do it to him, and then I pretend that he's tickling me through the lens, and I move the lens around, and I go like move it close and far away, and go and he likes that, and yeah. But I understand. And my it's really cute to see my parents tickle him. Like, he's always so annoyed with them nitpicking and, micromanaging his life. But he still is a little boy, and they're still the parents. And there's like that toddler thing comes out every once in a while, and they tickle him, and it's like the most adorable thing in the world, and he loves it. Yeah. Pretty cute. They always get him by the ears and under the armpits. Yeah. Something about being tickled.
Forced joy.
Yeah, if you have autism or severe autism, I guess.
I don't know.
I know there's definitely people with autism who don't want to be touched at all. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not ticklish. I don't know. That died inside of me a long time ago. But
yeah,
I used to be ticklish.
A lot died inside of you a long time ago.
Yeah, I used to be ticklish when I was younger.
What was that thing you said to me once when you were driving me home from seeing a car?
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
That's a little callback for you.
Yeah.
Private callback.
For our longtime listeners, you know this. But when I first started hanging out with Kirk,
before you started buying the silver bullet against my better judgment,
he was the only. I only hang out with comedians. I'm a comedian, so Kirk was the only man I knew. Everyone, no one else can all the rest of my friends can barely bathe. Kirk knew about cars and stuff, so we'd get Kirk to go see.
A few tricks about cars, yeah.
Yeah, just man stuff. How do I buy a used car? What do I do? Anyway, we were driving home in traffic, seeing some stupid used car, and he was just looking out the window. And we were talking about past relationships, and there was a long pause, and there was sun coming through the window, and he looks out. I think you had just signed your divorce papers. I'd co-signed for you, and you were looking through the window, and you were like, Graham, this is unprompted.
That's not how I remember, but go ahead. You tell your version. I'll tell you what I remember.
I just remember being a silence, and we'd stop talking, and you were like, something died in me a long time ago.
That's not how I It's close. It's close.
Yeah. Well, anyway, point being, you're a good dad. It's been hard on you. It's hard to be ticklish when you raise a child with severe autism.
Yeah, there's some tough.
There's a lot of strain on your relationship, your marriage, and
yeah, that was such a funny deal. That whole thing, because it was
you get an armor.
Yeah, she wanted to get a divorce, and she didn't want to, and then the whole thing was a nightmare. And then she never would sign the papers. Unbelievable. Yeah, I remember we're talking about. I think every man has this something positive. And I don't remember what it was, but something like everybody has this joy, and so everybody has this something. I'm like, well, yeah, whatever that was, that died inside of me a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
I know.
And then you and Eddie just thought that was the funniest thing you'd ever heard.
Yeah. Was Eddie there?
I think it was Eddie, wasn't it? It was me. Somebody else was there. It was either Eddie or Nussbaum or somebody else
Eddie.
Was there.
Yeah. That's great.
And you teased me for the next hour in traffic about my pain. It was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. A man just says.
That was pretty funny.
I'm not going to let you get away with that one.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Peter is my brother, doing okay. Yeah, there was, I think we mentioned it last episode, that he got in trouble for talking again at his...
This is at the new job.
New job, and he got fired from his old job for talking too much. So we were kind of worried about it, and...
This is the job, remind our listeners.
Yeah, so to give you the quick little backstory, he had a job at a restaurant for years, and then he left that job through our basically because of this podcast and thinking about it and talking about it and having listeners encourage me, and I encouraged my parents to get him a better job, higher paying, more hours as a janitor. They found him a job, his job. The special needs network in Ottawa found him a new job, and it was too much for him. He was a janitor in a office building, and he would not stop talking about high school trauma and drama to the people who work there, and they have no experience with people with autism, and so they were being polite where, you can go, I can't talk to you right now.
Yep.
And he'll be like, okay. It's not going to hurt him.
Yep.
You have to prompt him, but they wouldn't do that. And so, they couldn't get any work done because he was telling them about a snowball fight from 1998 over and over and over and over and over. And Brian Moore took my movie, my DVD, and never gave it back. And he should never have done that. And they're like, all right, well, so he lost his job. Right. And then he got a new, really kind of, 2 hours a week kind of job.
Got it.
And they put up with him. And then he lost that one in the pandemic because the venue shut down. And then they never hired him back because he chit-chatted too much. When they opened back up, they kind of were like, we'll hire you, next time when we're open. Okay, yep. Well, in the fall. And then it was in the spring, and they're open. They're full-blown open, and never called him because he's too annoying. And they were free. And so they got him a new job. They did a great job. The people at Live Work Play in Ottawa, and they got him a new job at a bar in downtown Ottawa. It's a popular spot I used to go to in my early 20s. It's a pub that turns into a dance club. Not a club, but
I can see you in there shaking your little butt.
Yeah.
Sure.
Bunch of drunk white 22-year-olds.
Wearing shirts that are too tight.
Yeah. A lot of
slick back hair.
Just the worst. Sure. Early 2000s business.
A little too much cologne.
I definitely had an Aqua di Gio phase, as all. Yeah, the term was metrosexual back then, which is a hilarious term if you think about it now.
I don't think you can say that anymore, can you?
Yeah, no one knows if it's homophobic, but definitely doesn't feel right.
Yeah. It's one of those things that eventually somebody will point out why you shouldn't say it. And like, oh, yeah, I guess you shouldn't say that. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Well,
yeah.
it's just like dressing nice means you're gay.
Kinda.
It's basically what it sounds like.
You're from a big town, you're not covered in dog crap?
Yeah.
What are you, a gay person?
Anyway.
What does that mean?
Anyway, it was just a weird time. And but he works at that place now, and good for them for hiring him. And they're
Cleans the bathrooms, right?
cleans the bathrooms and mops up and moves around the patio chairs, brings them in and wipes down the patio chairs and the tables, and does it like 3 days a week, which is good. And he got reprimanded for chit-chatting again too much. So we were, worried. But the good news is that the job coach person through Live Work Play is like monitoring it and is communicating with his manager, his restaurant manager, and the restaurant manager seems to get it, and they're like, yeah, you can like tell him to stop, and he'll just stop. And apparently he's been doing a lot better, but it's with Peter, he kind of will never get better to a point.
Well, everybody's got a ceiling, and yeah, he might be close to his.
Yeah.
It might be close to mine.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But so it's what happens with Peter is he will stop chit chatting for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
You got to remind him again,
and then it'll creep back in, and then then he'll be like, "Oh, sorry," and then God, I'm such an idiot. I'm like, no, you're not an idiot. It's not your fault. Okay. And then he was good for like a couple weeks, and then he knows he just can't help it. And also, I feel for him because he doesn't talk to anybody all day.
Yeah.
It's like we don't need the money. The money is like, what does he make? Like
$100 a week.
$100 a week. It's like the whole point is to get him out of the house.
Yeah, have something to do.
So I don't know. I'm kind of like, yeah, talk to him.
Every 2 weeks, forget you're not supposed to.
Yeah,
just talk to him a little bit. Get it out.
Yeah, let it out, man. He had. And my boys, my dogs from high school, Mike and Andrew, took him out for Boston pizza.
Yeah, I'm going to try to take him out this summer when I'm out there in August.
Oh, my God. That'd make me cry.
We're going to have a little lunch.
Yeah.
He'll drink the beers. I'll have the pizzas. I'm off the juice. No more alcohol for me. Yeah.
Yeah? Is that official?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you seriously used to have like one beer a month, so.
Yeah, but now I'm
huge
down to
problem. Huge problem.
Now I'm down to maybe once on my birthday.
Yeah. One beer on your birthday?
Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't had a big interest.
Yeah, good for you. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of stuff just starting to seem like a waste of time. But not this podcast. I do enjoy this.
Yeah. You have good skin for
for an old man.
75-year-old man.
49 next week, guys.
49.
Woo!
Good hair, good skin.
For my birthday.
No smoking, no alcohol,
subscribe to my YouTube. That would be a great present for me.
Mm-hmm.
No smoking, no alcohol. Yeah.
No smoking, no alcohol.
Weed.
All carbs.
A lot of carbs.
A lot of
lot of pizza. Sure. Bread.
A lot of carbs. A lot of basketball.
A lot of basketball. Rode the bike today. It was fun.
Yeah, you have the body of someone who doesn't smoke or drink, plays basketball, and eats a lot of pizza.
Yeah, body of a Mormon missionary.
Everything is good except for right in the middle.
Fat.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
You look good, buddy. You look healthy.
Whatever.
Congrats.
Yeah, I don't look like I have. Not that we should give a shout out. Not that he needs it, but I don't know if you've seen. What is that lunatic? Some people say I look like him. What is that guy? I just blanked out his name. He plays a police officer in Me, Myself, and Irene. Canadian guy.
Dylan?
What is it?
Dylan?
No. Tall guy. He's a stand-up comic. Hey, look at you.
Oh, yeah. Harlan Williams.
Harlan Williams.
You do? Yeah, you're a better-looking Harlan Williams.
And,
you're Harlan Williams with a jawline. Yeah.
And he had on, this is so funny, but he had on Pauly Shore. He's like, let me ask you something. Do you have lupus? He's like, what's that? Do you have lupus? Well, I don't think I have lupus. I never say to myself, I have lupus. No, but do other people? Like, just such a... Why did it make me think that? You're such a crazy person. Why did I have
I
that
don't know why.
story?
I
I'm
don't
out of
know
my
why.
mind.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
losing your mind.
I'm losing my mind.
And you don't drink or smoke.
I know, so it's just natural.
Thank God.
Should we do this in the news? What are you thinking?
Let's do in the news, folks.
This is in sciencealert.com, which I don't know if they needed the word alert in the title, but there you go. Children with autism, quote unquote, see this optical illusion in a unique way. Experiment finds. Okay, this is a long article, so I'm going to jump around a little bit. Otherwise, it's a 20-minute article.
Yeah, let's jump around. We don't want to hear that.
To transform reality into the mental landscape that occupies our minds, our brain performs a multitude of operations. Some are shortcuts, assumptions that become obvious the moment we attempt to make sense of the conflict presented in the optical illusion. For individuals with autism, these shortcuts and mental operations could work a little differently, subtly influencing the way the brain constructs a picture of everyday life. With this in mind, scientists have turned to optical illusions to better understand neurodivergency. A study of the brain activity of 60 children, including 29 diagnosed with ASD, suggests differences in the way individuals process illusionary shapes, which could reveal ways autism affects specific processing pathways in the brain. Research made use of a classic style of illusion popularized by Italian psychologist Gianotto Canazzi, which typically involves simple lines or shapes such as circles with sections removed. Arranged in a certain way, the empty spaces align to describe a second shape with their negative space. You with me so far? Okay.
No.
Okay, so here's, I was going to show you a picture, but we're on a podcast, but we can't do it. To see the different shapes, higher processing operations in different areas of the brain combine stimuli, turning a mere pattern of dark and light into a comprehensive picture. Excuse me. Depending on the information that's recruited, the stimuli can be interpreted as one shape or another, but not both at once. The whole process is highly dependent on neurons sharing information quickly from parts of the brain that determine perception to parts that receive and package visual data and back again.
This is right about where I would fall asleep in science class.
All right, so we're going to put the link on this in the notes. I'm going to send this to Graham. I think he's doing this week's because the illusion shows circles with a little 1/4 missing in each circle, so the shapes are arranged in a way that the missing parts of the 4 combined for a new shape. This shape, a square.
Yeah.
And so people with autism have a hard time defining that negative space.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Basically, now I'm going to jump ahead because this is very
So we have
long.
so basically what Kirk just showed me is 4 half moons, basically, in each corner.
3/4 moons.
Yeah, 3/4 moon. Yes. 4 3/4 moons, that's right, in each corner. A picture like a white sheet of paper in each corner. And the negative space looks like a cross or a box. And he's saying that people with autism have trouble seeing that negative space and saying it makes a square, a white square in the middle.
Here's another example. Ask them to focus on the dot rather than the negative space ensures that participants were passively, quote unquote, observing the illusion in front of them and not actively, quote unquote, trying to solve it. Based on their brain activity, children 7 to 17 who had ASD demonstrated a delay in processing the Kanzian illusion. This doesn't necessarily mean that the participants couldn't discern the shape formed by the contorting images, but it does suggest that their brains process the illusion in a way that isn't automatic. When we view a subject or picture, our brains use processes that consider our experience and contextual information to help anticipate sensory inputs and address ambiguity, filling in missing information. And so that's the part they have a problem with. I'm going to jump ahead. This tells us that these children may not be able to do the same thing, predicting and filling in missing visual information as their peers. And we now need to understand how this may relate to the atypical sensory behaviors we see in some children on the spectrum. For instance, another study by Knight published last year found that children with ASD struggle to process body language if they aren't paying close attention. So they're connecting this and saying they have a hard time processing missing shapes. They have a hard time processing this body language that isn't directly in front of them, and then interpreting that in the wider context of what that person listening to your story
means. They can't
means.
see that those 4 3/4 moons create a square.
When you tell her that story again, the same story about being bullied, and she crosses her arm and looks out the window.
He doesn't, right.
That's a sign.
Ooh, you know what? Great work right there, Kirk. That was great. Yes.
No, but I think that's what it's saying.
Yeah, we're comparing our life stories to a science article we're reading. We are pros. We
took us 5 years, but we're doing
5.5 years.
1 million downloads.
Man, it's been 1 million downloads.
Yeah, I think it has. They add it differently with the way that, anyway, our hosting platforms is
screwed up. They erased all our old numbers.
Doesn't matter.
When they got a new version of their hosting platform. So we don't know how many.
But, it doesn't matter. Let's finish this article. We're almost...
I have ADD, so I cannot focus.
Okay. If their brain is processing body movements less, there might be a harder time understanding other people. There we go. I need extra attention to body languages in order to see it, Knight said in the press release. Knowing this can help you guide new ways to support people with autism. In the future, Knight hopes to continue her research among larger cohorts, including those who have a wider range of verbal and cognitive abilities. Her ultimate goal is to find new and better ways to support kids and adults with the autism spectrum disorder. That was a good, interesting article. What do you think, Graham?
I think you summarized it best. It would be an interesting way to test a younger person. It could add to diagnosis, I suppose.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, actually, why not? Yeah. I saw a dinosaur, so what does that mean?
New glasses.
Yeah.
New thicker glasses. Guys, we did another week. You can add me. It will take a second. All the social media. I'm Kirk Smith Comedy. And like I said, it's my birthday next week. Get out there, subscribe to my YouTube.
Oh my God!
It takes 1 minute, and watch some funny videos, jokes, some crowd.
He's running out of time, guys. You got to subscribe.
Apparently, this podcast is my make-a-wish.
I love not being the oldest person in the room once a week.
Which is rare for you.
Rare for me. It is rare for me. So I get my jollies out.
It's always nice to have somebody older than you in the room, even if they look younger. Boom, roasted.
That is not true. Is that true?
Tell me about your social media. A guy wearing a robe and a hat that doesn't fit correctly.
I am. I used to look younger. Anyway, my social media is at Mr. Graham K.
He's still thinking about the old comment.
It
was a joke.
I'm getting a bit of a double chin.
I'm still fatter.
Anyway.
That's the sound of my belly.
Moving on, folks. Subscribe to our Patreon. Guys, Patreon. Oh, got it.
I don't think it's an E. I think it's Patreon. Oh, yeah, there is. Yeah,
Patreon.
There you go.
.com/autastic. And you can donate for as little as $1 an episode. It does really help. We would, like to cover our costs on this podcast, and we really appreciate you Patreon subscribers listening right now. I want you to know we know who you are, we know where you live, and we love you.
Turned into a threat. Have a great week, guys. You can do it.